guys, welcome to another speed build. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and I hope you had a great new year as well. Today we are over in Windenburg, and I am building two small townhouses on the same lot. And this specific area of Windenburg is called Old Platte. This is where the nightclubs are. This is where the actual downtown and kind of busy area is in Windenburg. Honestly, this is my favorite part of Windenburg. I love this part of Windenburg. I think it is so pretty, and it's so much fun to build here as well. It's been quite a while since I have built here, and I've never built townhouses here on a single lot. I've done townhouse looking builds on one lot, but never more than one, if that makes sense. And so it was so much fun building these for you guys. I didn't think this is what the build was going to become when I first went into it. I thought it was just going to be a single building, but once I seen how small it was on the lot, I was like, I could totally fit a second one pretty comfortably on this lot, and I think it would look so cute doing that. And so that is what I did. And oh, by the way, this is a 30 by 20 lot. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. And you can see the actual specific lot in the top left corner of the screen. I think it's Proprietor's Square or something of the sort. But yeah, so I almost made these exactly the same, but you'll see here shortly once I build the second one. And I was looking at the outside, I really wanted to change up the colors between the two. And so at first I started changing the flower boxes, and one of the swatches on the flower boxes, it almost looks like a grayish black or a dark brown color with yellow flowers. I can't quite put my finger on the actual color. It depends on the lighting. Sometimes it looks gray, sometimes it looks black, and sometimes it looks dark brown. So it's one of the two, or one of the three, should I say. But regardless, it looks so nice. I absolutely love a dark brown with a yellow on a build like this. It just reminds me of a storybook kind of build. I'm not really sure how to explain it, but you'll see here soon. I'm now starting to change the swatches, and I found the one with the yellow flowers, and I was like, I absolutely have to do that swatch. And I end up changing the brick on the bottom to a stone. And so they're two completely looking buildings, but they have the exact same floor plan, which is exactly what I wanted. I felt like this part of Windenburg, they would have a lot of the same floor plans in the buildings, but they probably look different on the outside. So it was so much fun doing this build. I really hope you guys enjoy it. Of course, if you do, please do not forget to leave a like, and also subscribe if you have not already, and share this video with your friends if they are simmers as well, and if you think they would enjoy it. So at this point in our build, we have a great start on the exterior. So as you can see, I have the staircase leading to the second story of the townhouse. And I think it's just so much fun doing builds like this. I don't know why I enjoy it so much. It's just so different, and it just looks so cute. I just love it. And it's so much fun watching the Sims walk up the stairs. I'm not sure why I find it fun and amusing, but I do. It's just, I don't know, just so different to me. And so I just really enjoy making builds like this with the staircases on the second story. And so the second story is where the main part of the townhouse is. It's where the living room is, the dining room, the kitchen, and then there's also a bathroom up there. And then there is a staircase leading downstairs to the bedrooms. And I was unfortunately only able to fit two bedrooms. I almost said three. I wish three. Only two bedrooms in this build, but I figured, you know what, it's a townhouse. A lot of townhouses are typically two bedrooms anyways, and so I figured it's fine. If you guys have more Sims, you have two kids, then you could just make the kids share a room downstairs. And then we have an additional bathroom downstairs as well. There's no bathroom tied down to the master bedroom, but I figured probably the downstairs one is where the parents mainly use, and then maybe the kids use the one upstairs. Totally up to you if you do decide to download this, but I was happy I was able to at least fit two bedrooms and two bathrooms in as small of a layout as these two buildings are. And I only end up furnishing this townhouse on the left, the one with the yellow flowers, I kept like the yellow vibe on the inside as much as possible too. And same with like the dark colors. So the colors that you see on the exterior, I kept on the interior as well. So the one on the right is like kind of like a reddish brown, so I keep the reddish brown on the inside. And this one here on the left is like the dark brown, grayish black. Right here it looks dark brown, but you'll see in some lighting it looks black or gray. Like it's kind of weird, but I kept that color on the inside too. And it looks even darker on the inside, to be totally honest. But yeah, so I have this cobblestone fencing all around each of these townhouses, and so they each have their own backyard, which I so love that about the build. It just makes it feel like its own separate lot, you know, having it fenced off on each side. And then I'm using these trees from the Debug catalog and Get Together, and I absolutely love these trees. I use these all the time, even when I'm not building in Windenburg. I just think they're so nice, and I love the texture on them. They just seem like a little bit more realistic and not so cartoonish as the like build by version of these trees, which I still don't know the name of these trees. I always want to call a tree an evergreen tree, but I can't call every tree that. So if you guys know the name of these trees, let me know down below, because I need to know. I use them more than I don't, and so it's kind of crazy to me that I don't know the name of them. So definitely let me know if you guys know the name of them. Let me know down below what it is, because I am curious. So another feature of this build on the outside is that it actually has like a little side porch area, and it has like a covered roof, because above it is like an additional part of the building. I came across like an inspiration cartoon type of photo in Pinterest, and it looked honestly just like this townhouse, and so it was so cute. It was too cute not to do. So as soon as I seen that, I was like, okay, I know what I'm building today. And I'm so glad that I came across that photo, because I had so much fun building these townhouses. And I just feel like they would be so fun to play into, like just super playable. And I always have so much fun playing in townhouses or apartments anyways, especially back in the Sims 2 days. My favorite build to play in once the apartments came out was the like colorful townhouse ones. I don't remember the name of them, but if you are a fan of the Sims 2 like I am, then you probably know what I'm talking about. It was like each one was a different color. There was like a blue one, a yellow one, a red one, and maybe a green one or something like that. I always chose the blue one though. So me loving blue builds goes all the way back to my Sims 2 days. And so ever since then, I've just always loved playing in like townhouses. It's just so fun having like neighbors so close to each other. And so now that I'm older and I actually know how to build, because I did not know how to build at all as a kid. It was like the hardest thing ever, which going back and building in The Sims 2, I get why I had such a hard time, because The Sims 2 is kind of hard to build in, to be honest. But anyways, but now that I'm an adult and I do know how to build, I love building townhouses. It is so much fun. Let me know if you guys like playing in townhouses as much as I do, or if you prefer just a regular single family house. So we have our floor plan officially laid out, and you see how I have the bedrooms downstairs. Well, you probably don't really see it yet. You don't see the vision yet. It's kind of hard to see, but once I add the doors and all the furniture, you'll see it then. And so I have like an entryway when you first walk into the front door, and then there's like a platform step down, there's the bathroom there, there's like the dining room on the left, and then the living room on the right, and then the kitchen is through the living room. I usually don't like to put the kitchen so far from the dining room if I can help it, but sometimes that's just how it is as far as the floor plan goes, and you can't really help it. And I tried to figure out a different way to like lay it out here to see if I could fit the living room on the other side where the dining room is, but that was just too small of a room to put the living room. So, you know, it is what it is. I say that in a lot of my builds. I can't always have everything. I can't always get what I want. So you have a little bit of a walk from the kitchen to the dining room, but it's fine. You'll live. And then the staircase is also in the dining room, which also isn't ideal. I would have liked the staircase in the living room, but you can see how big the living room is compared to how small the dining room is. And so I'm sure you can see why I chose where each room was going to be. And then when you go in the dining room, you lead down the stairs, and then there's the bathroom straight across, and then one side is the master bedroom and the other side is the like spare bedroom where the kids would be, or like your office, or any like guests or anything would go in there. In the one that I decorated, I ended up furnishing it for 3 Sims. So there's 2 parents in the master, obviously, and then there is an infant in the spare bedroom. And then I did include a high chair in the dining room. And the dining room is a little bit of a tight fit, okay? But I did play test it, and your sim is able to walk around it and go downstairs, go upstairs. It's all playable. So just keep that in mind. If you see something that's kind of a tight fit, just know that I did play test it, and I did that purposely because I say it in all of my builds, but I'll say it again. It's important for me to make a build as playable as possible. I mean, you guys either watch it for inspiration or you watch it for a build that you might want to play in. And so you don't want to download a build and start playing in it and then like it's not functional. That's not fun. If anything, it used to infuriate me when I used to like download builds off the gallery, and it would be like really decked out, really cool, but not functional. It's like, what's the point? Why upload it on the gallery if it's not functional, you know? But I am human and I do make mistakes, so just keep that in mind. I try my best, but I am not perfect. But we now have the flooring and the wallpaper on, and I do end up changing like the bathrooms and the kitchen to this tile. I felt like it needed a little bit of like a breakup between the darkness of the wood. And I also ended up coloring the roof with the same like dark wood swatch too. I felt like this build called for that. Not always do I color the roof, or the ceiling, should I say. Not always do I color the ceiling. I typically, in like a suburban type of build, I like the white ceiling because that's typically what you find. But a build like this where it's dark wood all throughout, I felt like coloring the ceiling was the only choice I had. And so that is what I did. I took time and I did that. And I did the same outside too, where like the porches and stuff are. It looked so much better when I colored it to the dark wood from the white. The white was just, it looked weird. I'm so happy that they updated the game. Like at this point, it's probably been a year or more. I don't remember. They have a lot of updates. But it used to be to where we could not color the ceiling. And I always remember wishing in like builds like this, or maybe if I did like a log cabin, certain builds, it's like, wow, it looks so weird with the white ceiling. And I always like wish that they would update it, and they finally did, so I'm super happy about that. It's always so satisfying when you do a build like this that you need to color the ceiling and you can actually do it now. It is so satisfying. I absolutely love it. It's kind of hard to get in a good position until I remember that there is like a little like icon in the build catalog where you can press just color ceiling tiles. I forget that that exists, and so you'll see me trying to get in a position where I could see the roof or the ceiling, and then I finally remember, it finally clicks in at some point that there is in fact a little icon you can press to make it easier on yourself. But for some reason I like to make things as hard as possible on myself. That's just how I am, and I've lived my whole life this way, and I guess I'm not going to change anytime soon. Why change at this point? But anyways, we're starting to furnish the townhouses now. So I do end up putting like the bathrooms, the bathroom appliances, and maybe like the mirrors, some furnishings I end up putting in the second one. And then the kitchen appliances and cabinets I end up putting in that second one too. So I really wanted it to be like ready to like download and for your Sims to move in and have everything that it would typically have in real life. Like you would always move into a townhouse or a house for that matter, for the most part, unless like you buy a house specifically because there's nothing in there. But for the most part, if you buy a house, rent an apartment, buy an apartment, townhouse, whatever, and you're moving in, you're always gonna have the appliances, the bathroom appliances, if That's what you call those bathroom fixtures. The toilet and the sink and stuff, you know? And then, like, same for the kitchen. You're always going to have the cabinets and the appliances for the most part, especially if it's a rental. Not always do you have appliances when you buy a house, but you guys know what I mean. I really wanted to include what you would typically find in a house when you first move in. And so when you download this on the gallery, that second one is going to have all of the bathrooms done and then the kitchen done and then nothing else done. And I also changed the light fixtures too. So right now in most of the rooms I have like those round disc ones from Base Game that has the best lighting to build in. Like I love those, but then I like to replace them with actual fixtures that look better. It's also easier to furnish with these like round disc lights because they don't get in the way. You'll see I'm gonna replace them here shortly while I think about it in the build, like literally right now. You'll see when I'm trying to furnish, like especially the living room, that light gets in my way. And it got a little frustrating, but I ended up keeping it. I really like to match the light fixtures with the build though, and I feel like these really look good with this specific build for like Windenburg. It just looks almost like old-timey, and so I really like it. I thought it looked really good. And this light in the dining room, it's actually from Cats and Dogs, but I love having like an extravagant sort of light fixture in the dining room. I'm not sure if extravagant's the word, but for lack of better terms, a nice light, you know, a special sort of light for a dining room. I feel like dining rooms always have like a super nice light fixture above it. And so yeah, I always like to make the dining room lights like super nice. So the first room I decided to start in as far as the furnishings go is the infant's nursery. And I came across this changing table from Growing Together, and it matches perfectly with this crib from Base Game. And I think it's like the mission style that you'll find in like Oasis Springs, like the Mediterranean style houses there. But I also think it goes really, really good in like this sort of build. And I really wanted to do like a storybook nursery sort of theme. I didn't have that kit installed, so unfortunately I couldn't really make the storybook nursery dream that I wanted, but I did my best, and I did keep the dark brown with like a yellowish beige-ish color in there, and I think it turned out super cute at the end of the day. And it's definitely gender neutral, so you could have either gender baby in that nursery, so it's kind of perfect, especially for like your neighbor's house, you know. Like if you download this and you furnish the other townhouse, this one you're probably gonna want to make like a family to live here that like you could be friends with. That's what I would do during my gameplay. And so it's like perfect for that. Like you could make two parents, and then whatever gender baby you want them to have, you could totally just put in that nursery and it would be perfect. Or even if you wanted to play in this townhouse, you could totally make whatever gender you want and put in that room, like no big deal. And I also put like a little grabby mat upstairs too, and I chose the yellow one. I don't do that yellow swatch very often, but I felt like this theme, it called for the yellow. Like I had to do it. I didn't have a choice. And it's not that I don't like that swatch of the grabby mat. I think it's super cute. It has like a bear on it and stuff. I just don't do brown and yellow as a theme very often. And so I had a lot of fun taking the opportunity to be able to place it in this build. But we are in the master bedroom now, and as you can probably tell, I struggled with these curtains. These curtains took me a lot longer than I would care to admit. I just hated the way it was trying to place on the window. I hate how you could see like the window trim above the curtain rod. I cannot stand that. So if I can help it, I will freely place the curtain. And sometimes it's easier than other times. In this specific case, it was kind of hard. And so I struggled with it. And it took a good 30 seconds of the speed build, so you can only imagine how long it took me in like real time. Yeah, a little embarrassing. But at the end, I got it and it looks good. So at least there's that. I would have liked the curtains to have been a little bit longer, on the windows because you can see the window trim at the bottom, and my OCD just can't stand certain things like that. I just like things to line up as much as possible, but sometimes I just have to ignore it and act like it doesn't exist, and that's what I did in this case. But I was able to fit a computer desk in the bedroom too. I really wanted to put a computer somewhere in this build. I tried to put it up in the living room because I thought the bedroom was going to be a little bit too small, but it turns out the bedroom was the only spot I was going to be able to do it. So I squeezed it in nonetheless. And I really wanted to put like a big dresser in there, but it definitely did not fit. I had to resort to that little like small stand-up one. And so, I mean, it's functional, so it's fine. At least it's playable, you know. It might not be realistic. If everybody's clothes fits in that little dresser, they don't have very many clothes at all, but at least for the sake of the Sims, it's functional. So we are done with the downstairs, and I'm going to head upstairs in the main part of the townhouse in just a minute to finish up the living room and the kitchen and the dining room. But first I headed outside just to put some lighting out here. I ended up changing it from daytime to nighttime, and I noticed how dark it was. And I came across, you know, these lights, these wall lights from Get Together. And so I just wanted to take a second and place them out here before I forgot, because a lot of the time I do forget to add outdoor lighting. And I really wanted to add it here. And they're really nice as like an extra piece of like decoration on the walls. And so I was happy with it. But we are now back inside and we are working on the living room. So I have these couches from Get Together. I never use these couches. They just look super uncomfortable to me. But since we are building in Windenburg and we're building like traditional Windenburg like townhomes, or at least attempting to, what I consider to be traditional Windenburg townhomes, I figured let's just add these couches that came with Get Together. I mean, what other time would I have to add these couches other than now? So I figured it was perfect. And I really wanted to keep the yellow color scheme in here too, but the yellow pillows just wasn't doing it to me. It looked way too much like SpongeBob. Like I just could not do it. And so I do end up changing the colors of the pillows to more like neutral, like beige and like a light brown. And so, I mean, I guess it's yellow enough. The beige I feel like is yellow enough. And then we have that little grabby mat for the infant, which is definitely yellow. And so I felt like it's fine. And then I used these curtains from Seasons with the yellow like vines growing up the sides. I thought it was I love these curtains. These are some of my favorite curtains in the game, and it looked so good in this living room with the gold detailing. I figured if I can't do yellow, at least there's gold, which honestly kind of looks the same a lot of the time anyways. And then I use these end tables from Cats and Dogs. I have come to realize I absolutely love those end tables from Cats and Dogs. I think they are so nice and they have such a good detail, and they're so like big and bulky and they take up space, which I love. And then I use the coffee table that matches those end tables from Cats and Dogs, and the swatch was perfect too. Too good not to use. And the lights that I ended up putting on the end tables are from base game. It's like the mission sort of lights, and I figured since we got the mission light fixtures on the ceiling, let's go ahead and go all out and do the end table ones too. And I have a chimney on the roof on both of these townhouses, and so I wanted to make sure I put a fireplace in here somewhere too, and so I grabbed this one from base game that matches this sort of theme, like the storybook Tudor style sort of theme, and so I put one in each townhouse. So that's an additional thing in the other one that you'll see. I mean, fireplaces, if a house has a fireplace, it's gonna be there when you move in, for sure. So the dining room came together super quickly. I was only able to fit 4 chairs at that dining table, and at first I wanted it to be more like horizontal than vertical when you're facing it from the front door, but I had to make it vertical because that was the only way my sim would walk around it. You've probably seen he would not walk behind the chairs, but when I switched it over, even though it makes no sense, he was able to walk behind the table, even though it was like the same amount of space. I don't know, but at least it works, and so that's all that matters at the end of the day. And I added like a hall table in there with some mirrors over it for decoration. I did include the high chair, and your Sims should be able to place the infant there and feed the infant the baby food, if I'm not mistaken. If not, you could totally just move the high chair somewhere. Like, there's a space right here where the clock is. You could remove the clock and put the high chair there. You could put the high chair in the living room. You could move the table over against the wall and put the high chair somewhere else. I don't know. You can figure it out for sure. But I want to say your Sims are able to still put the baby there. I feel like it would not let you clip it onto the dining table if your Sim wasn't able to use it that way, but who knows? There's a lot of things you're able to do building wise that your Sims cannot actually go around, so I don't know. I need to play test it, so I guess I'll find out. But at this point in this build, it's too late, so you might have to move it, you might not. But other than that, that's pretty much it for the dining room. I did use those super nice curtains. I wanted to use those in the bedroom downstairs too, but the way that the windows were structured on the outside of the house, I wasn't able to put those curtains on there and it looked good without clipping. And so at least I was able to put it in the dining room, so that was super fun. I love those big, like, bulky curtains from base game that are like super extravagant looking, and they're some of the more expensive ones, if not the most expensive one in the game. And they look super nice, and I don't use them very often because of the sort of builds that I do, like suburban builds. They don't really go with suburban in my opinion, and so I don't get to use them very often. So I had a lot of fun in this build since I was able to use them. So we have the entire interior done at this point, and I'm now starting on the exterior. I'm gonna finish up the landscaping, do the terrain paint. I do a little bit of furnishing on the back porch back there. I don't put a whole lot on the back porch on the townhouse that I'm furnishing, but I do a little bit of something. I do like a grill and an umbrella table and chair sets. I do these really pretty garden chairs on the back porch here, and I also put more on the side porch over on the side of the build. I love those chairs. I don't use them like ever. I don't remember the last time I used them, if I ever have, but I do love them. I just never really have a build that they look right in, or I forget about them. But in this case, I did not forget, and I was able to use them, so it was so fun to be able to do that. They're super cute. They're kind of small though. They look small to me, especially with the table that I use on the back porch, but it supposedly kind of goes with that table. They have like the same swatches. They're from the same pack. They're from Get Together actually. And so yeah, I don't know. But they are cute though. That's all I do know. Oh, and I forgot, I actually do end up putting some dog bowls in the master bedroom too. So they also have a dog, and then I put like a little toy box outside too, so that the dog has some sort of toys to play with. And I also added a chicken coop in the backyard. I don't know, I just thought the chicken coop kind of made sense for a build like this. If you don't want the chicken coop for your house, if you're gonna play in that one, or your neighbor's house, you could totally just delete it and leave it blank, or you could put like some monkey bars there. You got different options, but for me, for the furnishings that I did, I thought a chicken coop would be kind of cute back there. And I just like to use the chicken coops. If a build looks like it would look good with a chicken coop, then I like to put a chicken coop. I just find it fun. Now, as far as the landscaping goes, I am using these debug bushes that I literally use all the time, but they're the best bushes in the game. I love them. I think they're super cute. And same with these big, like, flowers. I have the yellow ones on one side, and then the other side I have like the reddish pinkish, and I tried to stick with like the color scheme on the flower boxes themselves. And then I have the vines growing underneath it, and these hedgerow bushes all around the house and the fencing. And I really just tried to make it look a little bit overgrown, but not too much at the same time. I think it turned out really, really good. And I also end up painting a path from the front sidewalk over to the side sidewalk to the back sidewalk. So there is a lot of pathing in this build, but I wanted it that way. I thought it looked super cute. And this exact terrain paint that I'm using, I chose this one for a couple different reasons. First off, I thought it matched Windenburg and this sort of build, like the rock look, super well. Also, it had a matching like tile swatch where you could actually put the floor tile onto the ground. And so it was super nice to be able to paint with this rock swatch, but also put the tiles down. I wish that they would add more matching terrain paint with like more floor tiles, if that makes sense. There's not nearly enough in the game that matches each other. And so it makes it kind of hard to be able to do something like this where you have a windy tile road that you have to paint on with the terrain paint leading to the patio, where you use the actual like tiles from the floor tile build catalog. Yes, I know that you can just literally paint the patio, but it does not give as crisp of an edge as like the tile itself does. And so I don't think it's the same. I really wish that they would match it like these two right here with the tile and the terrain paint. Like there's literally only a few that matches, and they did do a recent update and added more, I guess, but still not enough. And while we are on the subject of complaining, I just have to say, why did they not add a matching terrain paint or even tile swatch of this cobblestone ground that you see in downtown Windenburg? That drives me crazy too. And so I would have made it match if I could have, but I couldn't. They didn't have this, at least not that I seen. And so this right here was the best I could find. Okay, and one more complaint and then I'm done complaining. I literally exited out of my build because I had to go do something. And I came back, everything was said and done. I came back for the screenshots, and guess what? My terrain paint was gone. And so I'm going to have to redo it. And so it might look a little bit different than what you see here, but it's gonna be basically the same kind of vibe anyways. And so yeah, don't you guys hate that? How they have not fixed the terrain paint bug yet, where sometimes you leave and come back and your terrain paint is just gone? Yeah. That happened to me. And also somehow while I was building, my cobblestone pathway that I painted on with the terrain paint went missing too, but not the dirt. I don't know, it's weird, but I just had to put that out there too. I hate that bug with a passion, and I'm sure you guys do too. However, I hope you do not hate the build. Of course, if you don't hate it, if you like it, if you kind of like it, if you really like it, leave a like. I mean, heck, even if you hate the build, leave a like, support me. I really appreciate it. Also subscribe if you have not already. Comment down below what your favorite part of today's build is. Share this video with your friends if they are simmers as well. Do all of that fun stuff. It really helps support me. I appreciate you guys so much, more than you would ever know. I hope you have an amazing weekend. Stay safe, and I will see you all in the next one very soon. Bye guys!